A fresh crop of Bassmaster Elite Series anglers. Seems like they keep getting stronger and stronger every year, and the road to the elites is always a tough one. And it seems like now these last couple of seasons, the anglers that make it are battle tested and ready to go. And so we've had a couple of rookies on, and tonight's no different. Tonight we are going to be joined by an Okie, Oklahoma's Austin Cranford. What's going on, Austin?
What's going on, dude?
So you were saying that 70 degrees in Oklahoma?
70 degrees. It's weird. It got really cold, and then just for a little bit, and then it's been 70 degrees for like a week and a half. It's been really nice. And so usually whenever it's like 70 degrees, the wind blows like 700, but it hasn't really been doing that. So it hasn't been too bad. But I think that next week, the thing about Oklahoma is people will tell you, oh yeah, we're gonna have bad weather next week, and I'm thinking snow. But then my wife just got telling me that it's a tornado warning. So you never know what you're gonna get in Oklahoma.
Yeah. Yeah, so tonight's HellaBass Live, the first of the year. Happy New Year's, everybody. As always, we're presented by Arsenal Fishing and boosted by Powerhouse Lithium. Codes down in the description of the show if you want to support the partners and support the show. But yeah, we're excited to kick off a new year with a fresh guest that we haven't talked to. Yeah, for those not familiar, Austin, I mean, you've been on the Bassmaster Opens grind for 5 years. It wasn't an easy button, one and just fish a few opens and then just walk into the elites for you. Maybe kind of talk about like how that started back in, I don't know, 2020 or whatever it was when you started fishing the opens.
I mean, it kind of started. I kind of just threw myself into it, and the first year really wasn't. It really like it was honestly a couple bites away from doing it in the first year,
Mhm.
and then the second year was kind of where you had your lumps, like you found your holes in your game, and really figured out what you needed to work on. And I think that it took me that the second and third year, I think, is where like you have your good tournaments and then you have your bad tournaments, which are your learning tournaments. And I think that second and third year really I learned a lot about what I needed to get better at. And then the fourth season was when I actually in my head was like, I can qualify for the elites. I really felt like I could do it, and I had a good year. I just had some giant bombs. I think uh, I made it to like the eighth tournament because this was all nine in
Yep.
2020. I made it to the eighth tournament and I was in like 11th or 12th in the points, like right there knocking on the door. And then I just absolutely nuked
Which
the
was lacrosse.
lacrosse. Yeah,
Yep.
lacrosse. And so the water dropped. And I mean, heck, I'm from Oklahoma. Like our water fluctuates a lot, and I know better. Um, and I just didn't adjust and drop a freaking nuke and then catch him the next one. So it ruined my season. But like going into this year, so that would have been my fourth year. Going into this year, I had the same mindset. Like I'm going to win every tournament. I'm going to make the Elite Series, and then I didn't. So yeah, I mean it's kind of weird how every year was different. What's weird is the first year was I was really careless and I just did what I was really good at, which was fishing shallow and flipping bushes and doing that kind of stuff that we do in Oklahoma. And in 2020, this was like pre-scope. Like we had scope, but nobody really knew how to use it. So that first year, I felt like I was right there, and then I think the scope came along, and then I was behind the curve and I had to catch back up. So
Sure. Yeah, I mean, you saw it firsthand. Do you feel like the opens field stayed the same, ramped up difficulty competition? Like in those 5 years, what is your perception of like the evolution of the opens fields that you
um,
competed against?
I think it gets better every year. Um, every year I would go into it and I'm like, no, there's no way it's going to be better than last year. Like, because I've been in the open so long, I went through you know John Garrett's class, Ben Milliken's class, Trey McKinney's class,
I mean, Christie,
Easton's class, Tucker's class, you know.
I mean, even like, right, wasn't some of those years like when like
Greg Hackney, Scott
Hackney and Christie came back and Scott Martin, right? Like, yeah.
all those guys, yeah. And, you know, every year, you know, the first year was like all the big names that were trying to requalify, you know, obviously. They all requalify like it's nothing. Mike Iaconelli. And I'm like, oh, yeah, this year's not going to be as bad. And then you've got like JT Tompkins, Trey McKinney, and you're like, holy crap, like that was that was definitely harder. And then you go to the next year, and it's like harder, and it's everybody's getting so good where there's not like a small group of guys that you know are going to make the elites. Now it's like there's like 50 guys that like you can throw a dart at it and one of them can make it. So, I mean,
Yeah.
I'd say that throughout the whole field, the field gets tougher. And it seems like there's, you know, 2 or 3 superstars that come along every year that you've never even heard of, and they just make a big name for themselves in 1 year. So it's pretty crazy.
Like an Evan Kung or
like Fisher and I.
Yeah. I mean, even Kyle Patrick when he did it, and Tyler Williams, like nobody knew who they were before, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of I fished Division 3 in 2024, so I fished St. Clair, Leach, and your demise in lacrosse. So got a little taste of that smoke. So I totally understand what you're talking about. It's, and I've definitely said to people, you know, in person on the lives, like it's, yeah, they ain't playing any games out there.
No, they don't play any games. And I'll tell you right there, if you want to catch some smoke, go to St. Clair against these guys.
Yeah.
It's wild. You just show up with 20 pounds and you're like, dude, I'm not even close.
Yeah, I had like almost 22 the first day, and I was like, man, like, I don't know, 28th, 30th, something like that, like in check range. And first day of my first ever open, I'm like, and then I caught like 14 the second day, and just like, I mean, it's like,
yeah,
might as well caught 0.
yeah. I think I had 40 pounds in 2 days and didn't even sniff a check. Wasn't even close.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, the opens are a grind, and I mean, it's the toughest tournaments I've ever fished.
I think you look at the talent, you know, that there's still some guys that are, you know, I guess like me, that are kind of like testing it, fishing a division, and I mean they're decent, you know, local anglers. And then there's some people that are, you know, they got more money than brains, and they're fishing it, but those guys are like less and less. It's more and more seriously people trying to qualify for the opens that are like it's becoming less diluted every single season, it seems like.
Yeah. No, I mean, and there's a lot of guys that go all in, and that's the whole deal, is why the field, like I said, like there's more people that are competitive because they're all in, you know. And so, I mean, I'd say right now, if you're fishing the opens right now, and then going to the EQs, I mean, the EQs, I'm not gonna lie, like, dude, that it was like $10,500 for 3 tournaments. Like, I mean, you better be all in, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the crazy thing is, like, you could have made the top 50 in points and literally cashed no checks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
the four opens, you kind of just can get away with just not bombing one.
Right. You could have finished like 60th 4 times in a row,
Yep.
been close to a check, not cash one, and then like, congratulations, you made the top 50. Another 10, 11 grand, please.
Yeah. No kidding. And you're like, and then the guys in the EQs are freaking all hammers.
Yeah.
You know?
So you've weeded out the dilution, and now you add in like Elite Series jackpotters. So
yeah, pretty much. And I'd say there's, I mean, honestly, in the EQs, probably 60 of those guys could like top 10, you know, in Elite Series AOI. I mean, you give them the right schedule, and there's 60, 70. I mean, hell, probably all of them. You know, honestly, they're all elite ready because, you know, they there's a lot of guys. There's probably 40 or 50 guys that have been doing it just as long as I have. That I'm telling you could be on Elite Series roster right now.
So how do you think you evolved as an angler from 2020 to 2025? Like you kind of alluded to it a little bit. Like you were your prototypical Jason Christie 2015 shallow power angler, right? And you've kind of, based on what I can tell of watching tournament coverage and your YouTube channel, like you've kind of evolved over those 5 years. Maybe you can kind of speak to that.
Yeah. So the reason why I jumped in the opens was because I felt like I was really good at a couple things. Like you just kind of take, one or two techniques or just types of fishing, like flipping, the lake's flooded. I felt like I could compete with anybody. And then like if we're on a river, I feel like I could compete with anybody. And so basically the first year I show up, the schedule really was really good for an angler like me. I mean, I consider myself a river rat. And then, there was one tournament in that 2020 season that was on Sam Rayburn, and this was in the middle of the summer. Dude, I'm telling you, in 2020, I didn't know how to catch a bass offshore if you paid me. Like, literally, I was a John Cox. Like, that's what I was doing. So I had 3 good tournaments, and then like a 90th place finish that I was flipping grass and should have been fishing brush piles. And it kept me out of the elites. If I would have got a check in that Sam Rayburn tournament, I'd have made the elites. So I was real close going into the next year. So we go into the second year. Livescope is starting to become pretty popular. I go somewhere, freaking get my butt kicked. First couple of tournaments of the year, it's an offshore deal. I think it was early, like February. Might have been like Cherokee in the winter, and then I forget what the other ones were. Oh, cold front in Florida. Everybody caught them scoping with a jerk bait, and I think that was the tournament that at Kissimmee, my second year, that they caught them scoping with a jerk bait and a cold front, and I couldn't get a bite. And that's when I was like, all right, like I'm gonna go fish offshore. My wife been telling me, hey, you need to learn how to fish offshore. So I started really learning how to fish offshore, and get through that year. I had some good tournaments, but had some really bad ones that second year. The third year, still learning fishing offshore, and I'm learning the hard way, but I'm having some success doing it. And then really this time of year, in the winter in Oklahoma, is how I really, really got better, understanding these fish and how they behave and how the majority of them aren't on the bank. And so we roll into year 4, I'm starting to get really good at fishing offshore. And like I said, Newt, the Mississippi River, which, from my first year, you wouldn't expect that. But now we're kind of thinking a little bit differently. And then going to year 5, all the pieces come together and just kind of took, from me from the first year to now, it's just kind of like an overall whole angler that anywhere across the country, I can feel comfortable. And so that's kind of the deal, is like believing in yourself that you can beat people and being comfortable wherever you're at, or just at least finding an area of the lake that you're comfortable.
So maybe I feel like you talked a little bit when you were on with Panger right after the EQs, but kind of talk about you kind of have like a system. Like you don't have to get into specific lakes, but like talk about your system of like how you work on things and rotate lakes and go out and practice things in your backyard to prepare yourself for the rest of the country.
Yeah. So in Oklahoma, we've got, I don't know how many lakes, and there's still lakes I haven't been to. We've got a ton of different lakes that where the way fish set up differently. And honestly, I can, like, if we're going to Florida and I need to target Florida strain, like I can go fish around some Florida strain. But we have a bunch of different lakes, we really don't have grass in Oklahoma. It's the only thing we're missing. But when it comes to brush piles, stumps, water willow, rock, bait balls, literally any technique specific, or like bass behavior, how they behave. Like go to Champlain, they're obviously on bait, so I go to lakes around here that are on bait, and I'll basically go to that lake, go figure it out, go catch them on the baits that I think I'm going to catch them for. And I'll do that, however much time I have in between tournaments. And so, like for this Gunnersville tournament we got coming up, it's actually been kind of difficult for me because I literally have one lake to do this on. Like we don't have grass, and we have this lake is like a mini Gunnersville, but it's all I got, and so it's made it really tough. But I'd say for the most part, all these other lakes we go to, I can kind of duplicate that on all these other lakes, whether I'm going to be drop shotting or throwing a jerk bait over brush piles, or I'm going to be swimming a jig in some grass. Like our grass is water willow, so I can do that. And obviously, if we're having a bush flipping derb, I got it covered here in Oklahoma because we got bushes, at least most of the time somewhere around the state. And so that's kind of how people pre-practice. I don't pre-practice. I pre-practice here at the house. I feel like that I can find them, and I'm already going to be conditioned to catching them the way that, I'm trying to find them whenever I get to a lake. And it can be a lake that I've never been to. I can do the research I need to figure out what lakes I need to go to around here, and I show up, and it usually works. So
right. And a lot of your lakes, I think, right, are they're smaller, right? You don't have.
Yeah.
I mean, there are some big. I mean, obviously, there's Eufaula and 10 Killer and Grand and stuff, but most of these lakes that you're going to are these 2,500 acre, few thousand acre lakes, and you're kind of like taking the microcosm of like what one piece of another lake will look like and using that to practice.
Yeah, that's pretty much like you take Sam Rayburn, for example, and you're going to fish brush piles, right? And that's what you plan on doing. Well, I got about 10 lakes out here that if you throw a jerk bait over a brush pile, you're going to get freaking hammered. And so I'm going to go do that. And then I will go to, I'll make myself go to tougher lakes. And so I remember whenever we're having a tournament down at the Red River a couple years ago, we've got 2 or 3 different lakes. Go to Eufaula, and just go swim a jig, flip, throw a frog, buzzbait, all that stuff. And I go to really tough lakes that where like I'm not going to go smash on them. And then you kind of figure out that like you go to these tough lakes and you start to actually dial them in, and you kind of open some of these lakes. I didn't realize that's what lived there. But literally going to practice for these tougher lakes, I found a lake that's like everybody. I don't think there's ever been a bass boat on it in the past 2 years, and I go there and crack them every time in some water willow. And it's like way back up in a place, and I've never seen a boat, period. And it's a big lake. Huh. Yeah. So
that's crazy. I mean, we have a few lakes in Minnesota you don't see boats, but we got 10,000 lakes. So
I'm not gonna say the name of the lake, but y'all got some lakes up there, dude. Y'all got some really good lakes. Probably the most fun I had this year was in Minnesota. Whenever they kept playing the Bass Opens.
So doing some fun fishing when you weren't on leash.
Well, no, they kept canceling the tournament, so we.
Yeah.
So I mean, they did that the year previous I was there, and just absolutely cracked them like every day. It was so much fun. There was one lake I caught 60 over 3 pounds. It was wild. That was a lot of fun.
And then I think the other thing that I thought was interesting that you talked about was like you don't beat on the same lakes, the same spots, like right.
No,
you're only going to like those lakes a couple times a year across multiple seasons, right? Like you're gonna hit it like once per season.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, there's certain lakes that I will go to one time in the winter, and I might go one time in the summer, and that's it. Because if I have a wrap truck and wrap boat, if I get seen at any of these lakes and people talk, it's done. These fish some of them aren't pressured, and I use them as like batting practice. And then if I go and hammer a lake, like Pangrak's the same way. Like Matt Pangrak is one of the most underrated scopers in the opens. I'm telling you, like we spent a lot of time on the boat together. He's really good. And if he goes to a lake and I show up like 2 weeks later, I know that he's been on that lake. I can tell by the way the fish are acting. And he says the same thing about me. And I feel like that some of these lakes are like 500 acres, 1,000 acres. And if I go there for 7 days a week, like I might catch all of them. And you know, the next time you go, it's not going to be the same lake. So I'm real careful, and I have a lot of respect for our lakes because they've made me become a better fisherman. So I'm going to respect, and I have tons of lakes, and it's not fun to go to a lake that you've already figured out. Like once I figure it out, like I'm out of there. Like that's the fun part, is figuring out the best way to catch them. And I'm not just going to go beat them up for an Instagram picture.
Right.
Yeah. So
cool. So the elites, you know, you were in Okeechobee. Yeah, I think your best turn. You basically ended on the best term of the year, right? I think it was your best finish all year was at Okeechobee. So you kind of got momentum. You get to spray champagne with the boys, and kind of. What was the drive back to Oklahoma? Getting to like process it all.
Well, we went straight to the beach.
All right, nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, so I mean, we just had a baby, and she's young. She's 6 months now, but like the opens and the EQs was kind of like a grind for us because we had just had a baby, and so like we're obviously like really really busy with her, and I'm trying to make the Elite Series, and it's just been super super hectic. And I told my wife like, hey, like after this tournament, regardless of what happens, we're going to the beach because we need a break. Like my mother-in-law went with us, and she hung out, you know, just to give us a little bit of time to ourselves. And it was really nice. And we went down there, and, you know, obviously I thought about it, but I kind of just chilled out. And then whenever I got home was basically when I got home to oh my God, it's been crazy, dude. Like I've been so busy. It is so much work trying to get ready for an Elite Series event in a month and a half. I mean, you got to get it while it's good, right? Like while it's hot, and you're really trying to, you know, build relationships with sponsors and all of that. And you're trying to make deals, and then you got to get boat wraps, truck wraps, you got to get jerseys. Everything has to get approved by Bassmaster because now they care what you look like. And so, and, you know, I have a job, like I sell roofs. That's what I do. And I started a real estate company right before all this happened. So I've just been all over the place. While trying to shoot a deer, and I have a child. So it's been pretty hectic, but I think I'm kind of, my boat gets here tomorrow. It gets wrapped Monday. So I think we're not downhill yet, but we're getting there. So
yeah. Oh, yeah. You can see the light.
yeah, I can see the light. Like the cluster of stuff to do is finally kind of getting picked apart.
Like you can see the bottom of the list of things you got to check off, and
yeah. No, but it seems like as soon as I check one off, I add two more.
right.
My wife tells me to quit adding stuff to my plate. And like I said, I was trying to buy another house the other day, and she was like, "We don't have time for you to buy another house."
And you've been managing to put out some content on your YouTube channel. And I think it's just Austin Cranford Fishing. Is that right?
Austin Cranford Fishing. That's another thing that I've been doing, and I really started it because, you know, obviously, I want to grow my channel, but I really started putting out all this content because I have a videographer that I hired that does my videos and my tournament videos. And so the Okeechobee video, like, it means so much to me that I'm like, I really want that to, you know, get out to as many people as possible, that they can see, you know, my story, how it went down. So I've basically been doing a YouTube video every 3 days and an Instagram, Facebook post every day. And I've just basically been trying to stroke that algorithm for that video. And it's actually getting a lot more traction. So I'm going to try to keep up with that. And I've been doing a lot of, I mean, because we're winter fishing, right? Like there's only so much you can do to catch a bass. Like I mean, Livescope is the way to catch big bass right now. I mean, I can go down the bank and catch 12 pounds throwing a spinner bait where there ain't no bass, but that's not very much fun to watch. So I've been doing Livescope footage, and it seems like everybody likes it. And I've been reels every day, and we actually did something different yesterday. Me and Pangrack went spoonbill fishing, and that was awesome.
Were you recording that or?
Oh yeah, it's going to be a YouTube video. Yeah.
Okay.
And so it'll be a whole deal. I mean, I think we caught 6 of them, and so I've lived in Oklahoma for almost my whole life, and Pangrack, has been here for a long time, and neither one of us had ever done it before, which is wild. And we just went out there. I got a F5 rod, swim bait rod, and then he got some broomstick, and we just went out there and scoped them, snagged them. Because that's what you do.
Which is how you catch them, just to be clear. Like,
yeah. They don't eat.
That's the same as a paddlefish, or are they similar or the same?
It's a spoonbill paddlefish. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
The lake that we were at is actually where like all the world records come out of, and it's the most unbelievable thing you ever see. Like you drop the Livescope, and they're everywhere. Like I didn't realize how many were in there because I never targeted them, and they're everywhere.
They show up pretty good on scope, I imagine.
No, they look giant. They look like submarines down there. And to be honest, we didn't realize that how you're supposed to do it is you're supposed to fish for them in like 15 to 20 foot, either suspended or in that depth. Well, we just ran out to the river channel and dropped the scope, and these things are in like 40 or 50 foot. So we're trying to snag them down there. 40, 50 foot, I don't care how big it is. Like your cone on Livescope is itty bitty. And so we went 30 minutes, and I was like, man, we ain't caught one yet. Like we got to be doing something wrong. And then I snagged one, and it took in 4 hours we caught 6. And so I mean, it wasn't like the easiest thing in the world to do. And so when people say that they can snag a bass, like after doing that, I'm like, I don't think you could snag a bass.
I mean, I think it'd be really hard to snag an individual bass. I think I get a little worried about like that. What's that one spoon? There's that one that's got like the side trebles on it, like
that's Cody spoon, isn't it?
Yeah, I forget what it's called, but like I think if you were in a thick enough school and you were raking it, I could see it. But
you probably could.
An individual fish, I think, would be almost impossible to snag.
I think so too. Yeah. Heck, I was trying to snag a 70-pound fish, and it took me 30 minutes to do it, and he was sitting still.
And they swim around with their mouth open.
Yeah, and they kind of swim like a snake, and they just kind of hover through this weird.
Yeah, so Brennan asks, I guess during that 5 years, was there a roadblock, a setback, a hard time? You were like...
I'll tell you one thing. So I've got some buddies that fish the Opens. And, like the past 2 years, I've kind of been on like the back end of my, really bad finishes. Okay. And I've got some buddies that have had some really bad finishes, and they've been, they're good fishermen, but they've had, 2 or 3 just tanks. And I always tell them every time, I'm like, all right, that ain't as bad as me. I double blanked in an Open at Cherokee Lake one time. Like, I literally fished all day. Nothing, didn't break down. I literally zeroed 2 days in a row on Lake Cherokee my second year in the Opens. There was a 15-inch link limit, and all I could catch were 14 inchers. And, wow, Nick Trim. But I'd say Cherokee Lake, I literally double blanked. Like, my grandparents were there, and I've never been so low in my life. Like, I drove halfway across the country, practiced for 3 days. My grandparents flew in. And I go down there, and day one, I don't catch a bass. And then, I'm hanging out with my grandparents, and I'm, really upset. And, day two, I remember I'm idling to go throw my key fob back to the people. And I'm just going to idle back and go to the ramp I put. and my bass strike says 0. And my grandparents are walking down, and I just look at my grandparents and I gave them the thumbs down, and like I'll never forget their faces, like, oh my God, he did it again. And like, I mean, honestly, like, I promise you that I have been lower than anybody else, because I don't know how many else have double blanked in an open. And no, that was definitely the low. That was the bottom. That's the bottom of the barrel. And I guess it was only up from there. And things did get better. I mean, that I'll never forget that. So
Did Panger fish that one?
Huh?
Did Panger fish that open?
Oh yeah, he cracked him.
Yeah, I was gonna say he caught. That's probably worse thing. It's like, and Panger's like, "What do you mean? I just went here and I caught him and I caught him and I caught him." And you're like,
that's what everybody said. Like everybody was like, "Oh my God, they bit," And I'm just like, they didn't bite my stuff. I mean, and it wasn't even like I'd say that the length limit was 15 inches. Like I caught it like 2 or 3 14 inchers each day. It wasn't like I caught a limit, of 14 inchers. It was like I caught 2 or 3 of them, and then like a bunch of catfish. And I burned a whole tank of gas each day. Like I remember the practice was rough, the tournament was rough, everything was rough. That drive home was rough. And so you just got to keep going. I mean, that was the second tournament of the year, like bomb the second, or it might have been the first tournament of the year. Just absolutely finished dead last, first tournament of the year. Whenever you're trying to make the Elite Series, like that's hard to fish the rest of the year, and I'm like, I'm not giving up. Like I'm gonna keep going. And I fished all 9 that year, and I think I ended up climbing myself all the way back into the top 30 in the points. With a 220 something place finish, and so that might have been the year that I top 10 or almost won Wheeler. Yeah, I think that might have been the same year. But yeah, it was pretty rough. And I think there was another tournament in there that was pretty bad too, right next to it. I can't remember what it was.
Sure. Yeah. So looking forward, I guess Chase Vanover wants to know, like, are you a lock for fantasy fishing on Muskogee?
Ah, man. I like that place. I wouldn't call myself a lock, Jason. And to be honest, like Blake Caps didn't put on a very good showing last year. But I'm going to tell you right now that Jason Christie and Blake Caps could go 1 and 2. I'm not kidding. Like they know that place so well. I go there probably once or twice a year. I mean, I know some sneak holes, but the place changes so much. It's a river, and I mean, believe me, I can promise you, day 1 of the tournament, I guarantee you that Jason Christie, Blake Caps, Luke Palmer, and Austin Cranford are all in the same area. So we'll see.
So you haven't forgotten how to fish shallow with all your practice time with scope. You can still flip a jig. You can throw a spinner bait. You can still do all that.
That's another thing that I do with like practicing for these lakes, with all these little lakes around here, is I'll go scope for like 2 or 3 days, and then I'll go throw frog, on Friday or something like that. Like I always, because I still enjoy doing that stuff. And if you fall as flooded, like I'm there twice a week, like flipping bushes, because it's so much fun. Louisville Lake, Scott Martin never even caught a keeper. I top 10 Louisville flipping bushes. Or it was a top 12 back then. Yep, I remember that. That was a tough tournament. I remember that one.
I think all Louisville tournaments are tough tournaments. And Louisville ain't built for an open. Like it ain't that big.
No, I mean you could do an elite. I remember that tournament I rolled in and had the best practice I've ever had in my entire life. It's because there was like 8 inches in the bushes and nobody was up there because they didn't think they were deep enough, and they were up there. But that's all I knew. Like that's what I'm saying. That's my first year.
This is just a humor content. Like just it says
I got you.
Basically bring something good to eat. You don't feel bad because so.
The Arkansas River is going to surprise some people. The weights. So the last time Bassmaster there was that open, the very first open I ever fished, we had that really, really high water where the barge, I don't know if you ever saw that, went through the lock. and it blew the lock up. And so all the fish basically got swept, either out on the banks or they got blown down to down the Arkansas River, like into Arkansas. And so the pools that we're fishing didn't have any bass in it. I mean, the weights were so bad last time we were there. But the weights that have been coming in to the Arkansas River, are good. It's been really good. It's been taking over 20 to win there every time.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think to me it was a pretty diverse schedule before the whole coin flip thing. What's your thoughts on the 50-50 schedule?
I think it's really cool. I like it. I feel like everybody should be happy, even though that they're not. I think it's cool. The only thing that I will say is that sucks is they made that schedule for, to have some no scope games.
Right.
They made that schedule before that whole deal even happened. Then they have this no scope schedule to where they've got some derbs in there that where scope ain't going to play no matter what you do. And then they throw in the coin flip, and then now you kind of have some weird ones, right? I guess it makes for good TV. The anglers, I will say that, we could have had a lot more fun, but we're going to have some grinders, and that's okay. And this is just kind of a weird year how it's going to end up, and it'll be fine. And, I mean, I would really like to go to Guntersville and scope, but I'm going to say it's a really good lake to not have scope. Right. So, I mean, you kind of look at it both ways. I'll tell you the one that I'm like, I haven't put my finger on what I'm going to do yet. Like, I have a pretty good idea what I'm going to do everywhere, but Champlain, I have no idea what I'm going to do yet. Like, I've been to Champlain once, and that is some of the most fun smallmouth I've ever done. But to be honest, I didn't even look at hardly, anything else to fish besides those floaters. So I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't want to fish for largemouth because, when I go up north, I like to catch smallmouth, and I don't know. I might end up doing both, but that's the one that's kind of I don't know. I mean, it might be cool to watch, but you might just get another, summertime, grass fishing, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's any secret, right? Where pre-scope, you can go back and watch the tournaments. They were pretty diverse on Champlain. I mean,
yeah,
that's fair assessment. Both species played. There was a lot of things going on. It was fun to watch. I mean, the weights probably won't be as good, but I think you'll see more techniques, more different. Like the top 10 won't all look the same, I guess.
You're right. That's what I'm saying. That's what I like the 50-50 split. I think it's a great idea, and I kind of hope they keep doing it for the following year. I just hope the schedule is more I just hope they kind of design the schedule for that, if that makes sense. I mean, having scope on the Arkansas River is kind of a waste,
Mm-hmm.
And then,
I mean, you can, put it down there, and then when you're, you can maybe avoid a stump with your trolling motor, so you can see it coming, or
yeah,
I know.
I mean, it'll be a fun year. There's some no scope lakes on there that I really like. Like Guntersville, I think that's going to be fun. I think it really will.
So how many? You said you don't pre-practice, but obviously you've traveled the opens. How many of the 9 tournaments have you been on before?
I've been to the St. Lawrence River. I've been to Champlain. I've been to Santee Cooper. I've been to Lake Martin. I've been to the Arkansas River. I've been to 5. So that's fishing 5 years in the opens. You get a little bit of experience on these ponds. Yeah. So, and the Arkansas River, that's just from fishing BFLs, and I fished one open there, but we call it the ditch, and I go there probably once or twice a year, and I'll probably pre-practice that one. Say it's 2 hours from the house. I'll run down there, and like I said, it changes quite a bit. So I'm gonna go down there and go catch a couple and go look around, and like it's probably been. I fished a BFL there like 2 years ago. It's probably the last time I was there.
I mean, make sure sandbars haven't moved. The ditches are different.
Yeah, no, there's gonna be lower unit blocks there. Let's see.
Any advice for people looking to come through the opens and fish the opens?
I would say whenever you go to your local derb and you feel like that you are the guy to beat, and you feel like that you can show up and win every single tournament, like pull up, and if you're finishing first, second, third, and every little local tournament you are fishing, you're probably getting in that realm. If you're struggling to win a local derb, I'm talking 40, 50 boats, like if you're struggling to compete, I would not advise the opens. It would get really expensive real quick. But if you're one of the guys in your area, I would suggest fishing one division, and really just kind of see, because you'll get there and there's certain lakes that you jive with and certain lakes that you don't, and you'll kind of learn which ones you don't real quick. But yeah, I mean, if you're dominating local derbs, you're ready.
I guess, assuming you're doing it, not whether you should do it or not, I guess, what are the things that make a difference? You think it's like the preparation? Is it dialing in a practice style? Is it, I don't know, like taking care of things at home so you're not thinking about it? What are like some, like, what do you think makes the biggest difference for the people that are successful?
I think that they are really, really good at a couple things. And I think it's all honestly in their head. Like, if you truly believe that you can show up to a lake and that you are better, than everybody there, like most of the field, if you feel like you can beat the field, that's kind of what separates yourself there. That's what, it's all mental. Like I said, the second and third year, I wasn't showing up to the tournaments thinking that I was going to win the tournament, But whenever you show up and you're wanting to win the tournament, you truly think you can win a tournament. That's when it all goes down.
So it's you got to have the swagger. You got to have that confidence. You got to have that.
And I'm telling you, all through the opens, man, like I played baseball in college, and when you play baseball, when you play sports in general, you kind of got to have that swagger, and I kind of lost it. And I'm obviously a competitive person, but to be honest, man, like I felt like that I didn't have that, that swagger,
Yeah.
and I felt like when I brought it back, that's when I really, really started having success. Because nowadays, like, just getting a check isn't good enough. Like, these guys are so freaking good that just getting a check every tournament, you're not going to make, the Elite Series.
Well, you can't shoot for checks, because
Yeah,
if you fall short, right?
Yeah,
You got to shoot for wins and top tens, and then if you
if you miss,
falter, you fall to 30th or 40th.
Yeah, that's the deal. And so
Cash and checks is actually a big deal on the opens, but you can't shoot for a check. You got to shoot for the top.
You got to shoot for the top. Like, if you got, for example, how you can, nobody ever explains how you can actually, like, but if you get a couple bites in practice, like, say I'm going down some docks, right? And I'm throwing a chatterbait and I catch a 5. And, I go back to fishing brush or scoping bait balls and all that stuff. And I'm struggling getting a big bite. And I go down another set of docks and I throw a chatterbait, catch another 5, and then practice is over, right? It's like, man, I had 2 bites on docks throwing chatterbait in 3 days, but they're both 5-pounders. Man, I'm probably gonna spend 7 hours fishing docks the next day, to be honest. That's what the way that I would go about it. And then all of that stuff, that I figured out prior in those 3 days, all the other bites, the last hour of the day when I got 4 for 18, that's when that comes into play. But those 2 bites were my practice. That just showed me, hey, like these big ones are like over here on these docks. They could have been on wood poles. They could have been on floats. But if they were both on the same thing, both in the same bait, man, and they're both 5-pounders. I mean, that's a good way to catch a big bag. And that's kind of where my mind goes, like, I can win a tournament doing this right here, and so I'm going to fish that way.
I definitely when I fish locally, I'm a consistent check casher. I win a tournament every now and then. But when I tried the opens, I definitely practiced and tried to win. And it didn't work. But in those tournaments, I was okay with finishing 90th.
Yeah.
Trying to win, right? The goal was to make a classic. That was the goal, right?
And I think that there's a lot of guys that have success doing that. You see locals do it all the time, right? You'll see some locals in an open drop 25 pounds one day and then come in with 6 the next day. And I bet they wouldn't regret a dang thing, because they're trying to make a classic on their home lake. I think that's a good mindset to go into an opens.
When you're fishing a single division, that's how you should approach it.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to go into it, is going hey, I'm going to try and make a classic here.
It's an expensive decision if it doesn't go well, but it's but nobody's going to remember or care that you made $3,800 cashing 2 40th place checks out of
the opens cash and checks, the payouts aren't great. So honestly, risk versus reward, risk is I lose $2,000. Reward is I make a Bassmaster Classic.
And everybody will remember that you fished a Bassmaster Classic.
Yep. And if you won one and then you fish the rest of the division, the odds are you probably did pretty good in that division. So, then you go to the EQs but I think that's a good mindset to have. If you're going to jump in the opens and just see where you shape up, if you catch a couple big ones in practice and they're somewhat similar, you might be on to something. There is random big ones, but and I don't think you can win a tournament doing something that you're not good at. It has to be something that you're good at, right? If the water come up 6 inches overnight and, I'm flipping laydowns and I catch a 4, and then I catch a 5, and that's probably something to get on, but it's got to be something that you're good at, right? Like something that I don't really like to do. I don't like to throw a rattle trap until this year. Okay. Last year, I wouldn't have went out and thrown a rattle trap if that's how I thought the tournament was going to be won. So, but this year I have been throwing nothing but a rattle trap and winter fishing. Let's go. So, but yeah, I think that's a good mindset to go in and don't care where you finish, just try to win.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, let's see here. So I don't know. Don Boone wants to know, what bait company are you with for the elites coming up?
I am not revealing that yet. That's the one thing that I won't give on the spot. I will say there has been some changes, and I don't know if Don Boone 24 has followed me along at all. I have been with 6 Cents for the past 3 years, and I'm just going to give a hint that there has been a change. So I can't reveal it yet.
So we're not getting any Shindo tips tonight.
I get any tips tonight. Yeah. No, I mean, heck, dude, I caught a lot of bass on that thing. I still do. I still got a bunch. I have a ton of them. So, I mean, a Shindo's a good bait. I mean, honestly, and you know, if you watch my channel or anything, I'm not gonna throw anything that I don't like. So, I mean, there's obviously 6 cents baits that you've never seen me throw before. That's because I don't like them. If you see me throw them, I actually throw them. So, Shindo's a good bait.
You're not throwing the Willie Pete's all year, or
I have been throwing the Willie Pete's. So the owner of Willie Pete's, I'm really good buddies with, and he's been trying to get me to throw this dang minnow, and they've been in my boat. I've had like some of the prototypes. I never threw them, and I've been throwing them around, and they're so like durable. I've been throwing them quite a bit lately because like I can throw 3 and catch 20 bass. It's pretty crazy. So and they eat it.
So here's one thing I want to like start getting. This might be like a common question that I start asking people as an amateur minnow thrower myself.
All right.
Like obviously, like right, you see a lot of minnows rigged like that, right?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
But you do see the people that'll rig it like what I would call like a 1/4 inch in, right? And
Yeah.
then basically create the forced lip to be like a drift fry, right? You're basically
Yeah.
what is your take? Is there a time? Is there a difference? Do you do both? Do you only do one? Like what's
So I know I never do that. I don't ever do
okay.
that. So
Have you ever tried it?
yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So if I'll give you an explanation on what I do to mimic that. I don't do that. So what that does is it makes it have more of a sway. And
Okay.
it kind of instead of rolling like this, it makes it have more of a sway. If you are trying to get that, I go to a bigger bait. Those bigger baits have more of a sway.
So you're just going to go up to a 6 inch or a 7 inch minnow to get the sway.
And a lot of it has to do that sway is something that those bigger baits do. And a sway is bigger, like actual bait, like a gizzard shad has more of a sway than a threadfin, right? So it all really comes down to profile. Whenever I'm trying to select which minnow, like for example, if I'm at Sam Rayburn, I'm going to throw a 6 inch minnow. Opposed to whenever I'm at Lake Norfolk, I'm going to throw like a mooch minnow style bait that's a lot smaller. I don't know what it is about Arkansas. I cannot get him to eat anything else but a mooch minnow. Like that's like all I threw the past. I've been to Washita and Norfolk, and I caught him on a mooch minnow both times. But whenever you go around those big gizzard lakes, Toledo, Rayburn, Tennessee River, those big minnows are the way to go. And to be honest, that's not going to make a fish bite over not make a fish bite. Like that fish is either going to bite or not. Like the way you hook it isn't going to make that fish bite. You have to make the right cast. You have to make the right presentation. You can't be herky jerky, and you kind of have to surprise the fish. Like he can't know you're there, and he's kind of have to just realize that bait's there. And a lot of people don't realize is water clarity is how far you keep the bait away from the fish. However many feet you can see, that's how far you keep it away from the fish. Above him.
But you're saying if you visually can see your minnow 1 foot down in the water, you keep the minnow 1 foot above the fish on scope.
Yep.
If you're on Champlain and you can see your minnow 6 feet down, you keep the minnow 6 feet above the fish.
If you're on Lake Champlain,
or whatever.
Yeah. You keep the minnow 15 foot above the fish's face. And the whole key is to getting a fish to bite, especially the big ones, is the more you can get them to go straight up, the more chance you have of them to bite. If they're following it like this, your chances are very low. But if they're following it like this, they're probably going to eat it.
Yeah. And I guess if you guys want to listen to what Austin's saying, you can go check out his YouTube channel. He's got a lot of screen sharing where you can see this type of reaction from the fish.
Yeah, you can see it. And like I said, every lake's different as far as presentation. And I will say that here lately, I don't. Our water temp got cold and then it got warm. I don't know if that has something to do with it, but these fish lately have been reacting late. So, say you reel the minnow over their head and they see it, they kind of freeze and you'll see them light up, and then they slow follow. Like there's like a delay lately. They've been really not like seeing it and going. They've been really taking their time and getting behind it. And the jerk bait, and I've been at several lakes that it's been like that. I don't know what it is, but the jerk bait has really been coming into play this year. I don't know. My latest videos have been with the jerk bait because of that reason. You throw a minnow by their head and they just don't track it fast enough. And the jerk bait is that's what you do whenever that happens. So I've been seeing that lately. And if you see that, throw a jerk bait.
Cool. Are you a loop knot guy or not?
I just throw a fisherman's knot, on my minnow, and I throw a Palomar on everything else. I do throw a fisherman's knot on a shaky head and a Ned rig, because if you throw a Palomar knot and it's dragging on the bottom, there's something about it that it nicks that line really bad. But that's the only time it's Palomar knot and then the fisherman's knot on the minnow. And it's all about the head. If you're throwing a big ball head with a little bitty hook, your bait's not going to do what it's supposed to do. You kind of got to give that lighter weight with that big hook to let that bait really work. So
Cool stuff.
yeah, I would recommend a Gamakatsu Horizon head. That's literally like that's the standard head. I mean, it's hard to beat. It's got a wide gap. You can throw a 6-inch bait on it. You can throw a 4-inch bait on it. Heck, I throw a dang mooch minnow on it sometimes. But there's another head, and smallmouth are completely different. I would not recommend the Horizon head for smallmouth because it's a big hook, and they have small mouths. I don't know if you know who Joe LaBarbera is. He makes some hooks that there's some heads that they don't have that big wide hook, and they're a little bit smaller, but they're long enough that you can throw a 6-inch minnow. And I feel like for smallmouth, a lot of places, like if you were to go to like over at Washita, you're catching a lot of 2.5 pounders. That head would be ideal for that situation. But those big, 4, 5, 6 pounders, that Horizon head's hard to beat. Horizon heads are terrible. No need to know. Yeah, they're terrible. Don't throw them.
So you like the ones Joe custom makes where he pulls apart the tungsten and puts it on a BPK hook and UV resins it and all that good stuff.
Yeah, and I really like how you can throw a Sakamata shad on them, and a Sakamata shad is one fish, one bait, and I can get 2 or 3 on that head just because of the way where he puts the keeper.
It's on custom, yeah.
It saves it, and so you can tell he's throwing a minnow by the way he makes his head. It's a quality head, and I've just been throwing it for the past month and a half, and I'm pretty impressed with it. And so I'm trying to conserve them right now. And so I put them up, and I'm throwing the Horizon heads because I can actually get them.
Saving them for that first scope derb of the elite season.
Yeah, I'm trying to save them for. I mean, we're going to Martin, like.
Yeah, you need the little baby heads there.
Little baby heads. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
The spotted bass smallmouth heads there. Heck,
I'm probably gonna. Well, I guess we can't talk about Gville the way the rules are now, but
yeah.
So I'm putting those up, trying to save them because there are. I mean, heck, they're kind of expensive, but they're good.
Yeah, there's a lot of labor that goes into those. So.
Oh, you can tell by looking at them that he took some time.
Yeah, and he sells them in I don't know. You can go look him up on Instagram. He sells these foam box kits where he I'm not sure how much those boxes cost, but I'm several bags of Sakamata shads to get one of those boxes.
Yeah. Yeah. I scored on some Sakamata sheds the other day. I found actually Panger texted me and said, "Hey, there's this website. It's got some Sakamatas. I got 6 bags. Proud of myself." Those things are so hard to get.
Yeah, I was actually talking with somebody today, Punch Fishing, who's in the chat here, and it's like they came out with that 4.5 inch, and nobody really seems to care. But he grabbed up a good point. If they would have brought out a 5.5, people would be fighting in the streets for them.
I mean, yeah, I'm the same way. Like a 4-inch bait. I mean, heck, I throw a freeloader all the time. That's a 4 1/4, I think. I mean, a freeloader catches the crap out of it. But I don't know. I think I have some 4 inches, and I never throw them. Sakamatas.
Yeah. You loading up on any of the 6-inch freeloaders?
Oh yeah. Those things are freaking awesome. Yeah. Yeah. I've been throwing those. I actually did a video. Oh, this was probably like a month and a half ago, and I don't know, it's probably about 3 weeks ago when I caught them on that one, that big Crush City one. Those things are hard to get now. God dang. I see around here, like I found 4 of them, 4 packs at Academy, and I freaking bought every one of them.
Yeah, I got a few packs, and I'm gonna wait until after the first tournament on Gunnersville when Wheeler and Canal absolutely lapped a field on them, and then I'll throw them on Whatnot for twice as much.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good call. That's a good call. Hell, I've got a bunch of Sakamata sheds in some weird colors. I don't throw. How much do you think I can get them on eBay for? Heck, I got it. Hold on. Oh yeah, look. Anybody wants to buy those? They're for sale.
If they're two-tone, they probably get bit.
Yeah, I throw that color all the time, and I just can't get bit on it. I don't know what it is.
All right, so Punch wants to know: is there anybody when you're launching down on Gunnersville that you're going to look over and go, like, just maybe not like outwardly fanboy, but inside you maybe have like a little like moment?
Man, I'll never forget, and it's probably still the same way. I was at the Arkansas River my very first Open, and Jason Christie and Brandon Polinick fished that Open, and I'll never forget. I was like, "Dang, dude, like I'm fishing with Jason Christie and Brandon Polinick," and I think that those two. Now that I'm fishing the same tournament that they are, I think that it'll kind of be like that. Like those are the two guys that like I looked up to growing up, and I feel like that I've based my style off of kind of how Brandon does, and so like Brandon was like my Kevin Van Dam, and then like Jason Christie around here, just a river rat, a hammer, and I'd say those two guys are probably the two.
Cool. Yeah. Let's load up anybody that's been holding back any questions. Let's get them in the chat here. I got a couple here started here, but let's take a 1-minute break and then we'll be back and hammer through some questions with Austin.
Sounds good.
Are you ready to reel in your next home purchase or refinance? Supreme Lending's Dream Team can help guide you through the entire mortgage process, from pre-qualification to closing. We have a wide variety of home loan programs in our tackle box, including down payment assistance and first-time homebuyer options. You can ask HellaBass. He trusted us to help finance his home. Contact the Dream Team today by searching Supreme Lending Dream Team or click the link below in the description or scan the QR code on your screen.
All right, shout out to the Dream Team. Thanks for supporting the show. You can probably appreciate that as a guy that's been dabbling in real estate. You got to have a good finance guy, right?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, that's
and if your finance guy likes fishing, that's all the better.
That's a big part of it, man. You got to be able to get money.
Good reminder here from Brian. It doesn't cost you anything to hit the like button and show your appreciation for Austin sharing his time tonight. Let's see here. Yeah, so just a couple of comments here. He's excited to watch Gunnersville. So typically Minnesota has a season, but now they're expanding to have a year-round catch and release season. So we can, for once, like legitimately start targeting like early pre-spawned fish in Minnesota next year, which would be kind of exciting. Quick one here, Michael. What's the most number of licenses you've held in a year fishing the opens?
It's got to be. No, I mean 9. It's over 9, probably 9 to 12. Maybe stop somewhere on the way there to fish. Probably not. I'd say
you
9.
Got places like Hartwell, or some of those places you need 2 licenses, or Mississippi River. If you're going to go to Pool 9, you got to have 2 licenses and that kind of stuff. So
I'd say 9 to 12 probably.
I don't know. I don't know if we talk about this. I don't know if Pumpback is a lake or not.
Pumpback, yeah, that's probably the best smallmouth lake in Oklahoma, but you're not allowed to have a big motor. They have pumpback boats, so they have these. I mean, heck, there's $60,000 boats with no motors on the back, and it's just trolling motor. HellaBass Federation. I usually have 5. Oh, I know, right?
Punch Fishing says he's a fan. Give you a follow on Instagram.
I appreciate that, man.
So Gabe, Tin Horse Monty says it was hard to see Matt Adams not able to catch one more bass on the final IQ, and he said you did him a solid trying to help him out. And he was pulling for him. Hard to watch.
Man, that was rough. So, for those of you that don't know, Matt Adams was my practice partner in the Opens the past 2 years. He was the last man out in 24, and he should have made it. One day, the last day in Florida has kept him out. He was in 5th in the points after day 1 at Okeechobee, and I was in 4th after day 1 at Okeechobee. And we were fishing the same area. We found the exact same fish because we're practice partners. Had a big cold front. So we were all stuck in that canal. It's the only thing stable in the whole lake. And we were in there. There was a lot of guys trying to make the elites in there. There was one Elite Series guys in there that was trying to make the Classic. And Matt he's one of those guys that he will spin out. And he hasn't done it all year. And literally the last day, he spun out. He broke all of his stuff on the way there. And it was hard to watch, man. I caught the fish that I thought got me in the Elite Series. I immediately pulled the trolling motor up, went and got Matt, said, come on. Like, I had fished this stretch for 50 yards, caught a 3.5 and a 6. And I was like, this, in practice, this next 200-300 yards had him. And so I gave him the last 250 yards thinking he's going to catch 2 fish here. And I kind of just lingered. I had 4 at the time. And I kind of just lingered, like, honestly, for moral support, because I knew I'd made the elites. And it was hard to watch, man. Matt's my boy. That really sucks. He's not fishing the Opens this year, but he'll be back.
Yeah, Matt's had some runs where he gets on top 10 tears, but his Achilles has been the same thing that's happened to you, right? You have a couple just brutal tournaments that offset those, and it's hard to recover sometimes. But he's definitely shown that he's got all the capabilities to be there with all the top 10s he's had.
And I'll tell you what, every one of those top 10s, no live scope. Every one of them. Besides the Wheeler one, he almost won. That one was live scope, but all the other ones were not.
So Brandon Berg says, "One on a new lake fraternity. How would you go about looking for the deal?"
I would pick a creek that has the best offshore looking stuff. You're looking at a map. I'm going to pick a big giant creek. And if it has a bunch of stuff that come out in the lake with a bunch of high spots or a bunch of points that stick out, or maybe like a big flat leading into a creek this time of year. Anything that sticks out and gets, shallower, close to deep water. If there's a bunch of stuff in that area, I'd start there.
We had Leslie Gore on 2 years, and he has a very similar approach. Like, he's looking for the biggest flats and the biggest creeks where you got the biggest ecosystem to base your home base out of, and they're not going to be too far from there.
Yeah. Those fish love to get on high spots and points and saddles and flats. So,
and they need those flats to spawn. So,
yeah.
All right, that's a good question here from Sean. Favorite body of water that you fished in the opens that wasn't a local lake, and why?
Well, I mean, St. Lawrence River. I mean, it's if you ever been there, it's not like it is the lake in the river, but when you get there, it's just a different vibe when you get into the town. It's just like a northern. It kind of reminds me of like a ski town. If you ever been to a ski town, there's like local businesses and everything's based around that body of water. There's a brewery there sells pizza that's really good. There's like just the restaurants that are in like older buildings, and the beer up there is really good. I really like dark beer. I like that northern beer. And then the smallmouth fishing is phenomenal. And yeah, I mean, they're just giant, so it never gets old reeling in a big small. A smallmouth is my favorite, but St. Lawrence River, Lake Ontario, it is hard to beat.
Yeah. I think you kind of mentioned that one of your favorites was in Minnesota in the beginning.
Yeah, so okay. So St. Lawrence is my favorite, like to go and fish. But tournament wise, Leech Lake in Minnesota is a lake that I feel like I understand, and I feel like I've had 2 cracks at it, and it's a lake that I feel like I can win. It really fits my style because those fish are structure related, and they aren't everywhere. They're hard to find. I feel like if I do find some stuff, I feel like I might have it to myself because they're so hard to find, but I feel like I can win. And I feel like next time we go there, I have the game plan to win. I keep trying to make it happen with bad weather. And those fish, whenever you get bad weather, I know what I'm going to do now that I've done wrong, and I feel like I can win there. So that's why that's one of my favorites.
And have you ever went anywhere near the largemouth when you've been out there?
Yeah, one day. So the first time I was ever there, I spent all my days of practice fishing for smallmouth. Felt like I had enough, and Matt Adams, we said, hey, we think we know, because this is back when it was 5 days of practice.
4.5 days, that year.
4.5 days. So we spent 4 days out there looking for smallmouth, found all we thought we could find, and the last half day we're like, all right, let's go crack them. And so we went largemouth fishing, and we cracked them. I guess you'd call it playing defense, but we went up there and cracked them.
So that's why my frogfish didn't bite, because Austin and Matt were peeling on them.
Oh, we both had over 18 to 20 in largemouth. It was, I think I caught 15 pounds on my first 5 casts on a buzzbait, one spot. It was, so that's what I'm saying. Like, next time I go there, and I know that I'm gonna have a stiff north wind, I know where they live, and I know where I can go catch me 18 pounds of largemouth and stay in the game after my, hopefully, low 20s smallmouth bag day 1. So I've been real good at catching them day 1, day 2 there. It's just, it's so hard to stay consistent there with smallmouth.
Well, I do, who knows when they're coming back, but it's only getting better. So there's not less smallmouth next year and the year after and the year after. So
I think the next Bassmaster tournament on Leech is either going to be a college tournament or an elite.
Ooh. College tournaments are huge though, aren't they? Hopefully it would be like a bracket would be.
Oh, a bracket would be Oh yeah.
A bracket on leash would be electric with whatever 12.
Yeah, especially if they had really good weather. Oh my God, like those guys would smash. You can do. If I were to go up there on, in June, July, and there's no tournaments, I think you could do a high 20s bag. Like you could do 28 to 30 probably. I mean, they're there.
I mean, they're still spawning in June up there, but
I'm just saying with no. I'm talking about with no pressure. You could go up
yeah.
there. Just there's 30 pounds in that lake of smallmouth.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, but Easton had 20, high 27
Yeah,
that first day of the first Open, and that was 3 years ago now.
yeah.
And that was with 200 of his best friends out there helping him, right? Like, yeah.
I got a funny story about that. So, day one of that Open that he won. So those smallmouth that he found, I thought I was going to win the tournament off of them. So I am running to that spot, and something tells me to pull over here and fish this one boulder. So I pull over there, fish that boulder, catch a 4-pounder, put it in a live well, stand back on the trolling motor, swing my trolling motor to pull it up. Trolling motor's broke, won't swing. So I have to go back to the service trailer, run 30 minutes back, get it fixed, run back over there. Easton's sitting right there. Wins tournament. That spot he was on was freaking magical. Unbelievable. Nothing like I've ever seen. Pretty wild.
We'll see that it wouldn't have worked out for you because you would have got there. You would have caught one, and then your trolling motor broke, and then you just would have been watching Easton bash him. So it's easier on your mental health this way.
Yeah. Well, he already had 25 by the time I got there because I didn't get back till about 10 because it took.
That's what I'm saying. But like you would have turned your trolling motor and it would have been broken, and then you just would have been flailing, and he just would have been there catching them right next to you. So
I know. I mean, I don't know if I would have caught 27, but Easton wouldn't have been able to get on it because I was boat like 12 or something, and it was literally one boulder. There was one biggin on it, and it was a 4-pounder, and I caught it. And yeah, that school that he was catching was unbelievable. There was in practice, they all came up on my jerkbait. I had one hooked, and they all came up and were trying to eat my jerkbait out of its mouth. And there was like 15 of them there. It was wild. They were all giants. So, but they were not shallow this go around. Let me tell you, I tried.
So what's the go-to convenience store?
Oh gosh.
Like
Man.
what is are you like a healthy nut? Are you energy drinks and beef jerky? Like what's your routine for food?
So for the past 10 years I've been black coffee and dip. But I told my wife that I was going to quit dipping whenever I made the Elite Series. So I have been doing Zens. And so, but I'm a black coffee guy. Favorite gas station? Man, the Quick Trips in Oklahoma. I mean, I like them. We don't have them around my house, but I mean, I don't know. I like Buc-ee's. Buc-ee's is nice, but like I'm more of like an early morning coffee, old gas station with coffee pot coffee kind of guy. Like roll in there. There's some lady that owns it or she's been working there for 20 years and I go get the black coffee out of the pot.
The pot hasn't been cleaned in 20 years. It's just got 20 years of flavor in there.
My kind of gas station. Like that's like there's some gas stations around Eufaula that I'm like, oh yeah, like I can't wait to go to that gas station.
Punch wants to know what rod reels are you running?
So they're F5 custom rods. The guy's out of his name's Brad. He's out of Oklahoma City. I've had him for 3 years, and man, it's a great company. F5 makes a really, really good minnow shaking rod. That's kind of what sold me to move over with him. The jerkbait rod, whenever he first brought me on, I was like, oh, well, you got to give me some rods first. Let me try them out. And I fished with his rods for like a month. And there was literally 3 rods that sold me, specific techniques. And his 7.2 spinning rod, the jerkbait rod, and his 7.4, just all around utility rod to throw an A-rig, flip a jig with it, all that stuff. And I'm like, man, and they're the lightest rods that you've ever touched. And we're starting a signature series minnow rod with me, and it's almost done. It's called the Pig. So be looking out for that.
Nice. Morgan over on Instagram says he hopes you're going to hop in an XFL when you're back home.
Yeah. Yeah, I like the XFLs. I mean, I can tell you a funny story. Lake Eufaula in Oklahoma, I caught like a 6.5 pound smallmouth last skeeter tournament. That's what they are. They're skeeter tournaments. I'll hop in them. They're fun. That's probably the best paint tournament we have in Oklahoma.
Are the Shawnee twin boys going to get a reprieve this year? Or are you still going to mix in some jackpots?
I switched jackpots lakes every year, to be honest. We did Shawnee. Me and Matt did Shawnee for 2 years, and then I switched over to Draper, which is a lake that's like 10 minutes from my house. It's a really, really tough lake. Like, you can go down the bank and catch all the 13 inchers you want, but there's giants in it, and they're really, really hard to target, and that's what I like about it. And so I switched over to Draper. I used to do Kanawha, which is a grass lake that I said is like Guntersville. But no, I mean, I'll do a couple Shawnees a year. But since I had a baby, like on a Wednesday night, it's just easier for me to go 10 minutes from my house. So, yeah, it's a good lake.
Are you focusing on the elites? Or are you mixing in anything else? Are you trying to like do the Toyotas on top of that or anything? Or are you just really focused on the elites? Like Austin froze. Oh, I haven't had this happen in a while. I'm gonna see if that all right, we're gonna possibly try to boot him and we'll see if he makes his way back in. I don't know. Everything was going smooth. It just locked up like that was like some kind of secret question that Randy Blockett was trying to block through the internet or something like that. But Luke Wabi on Instagram, I do not ice fish. I would, but I don't own any gear and have no interest in buying gear. So if somebody wanted to invite me out, maybe I would, but I don't have the ambition or the interest in buying gear to do it on my own. So maybe you got a phone call. Maybe this one wasn't on Do Not Disturb. Who knows? We'll hang out for a couple minutes, see if Austin comes back. I guess while we're waiting, we can remind you that there's a new code for Omnia, and it's easy, and it's going to be the same code all year. To be HellaBass 10 all year at Omnia, and that'll save you 10% off on just about all the purchases at Omnia, and you can use it multiple times per month now. And so and it's easy to remember. It also will save you $10 off Omnia Pro, which is super sweet if you haven't checked that out. Yeah, Luke, thanks. He said he enjoyed watching me on Pass the Barb on their live show last night at the end. So yeah, I joined up. Ben Milliken and myself were both on Pass the Barb last night, late. So New Year's Eve was chill. Had some friends over. We played some games and some cards and ate some appetizers and had a couple of cocktails and got to bed right at midnight. Pretty crazy stuff. Oh, look at that, Dustin. Your boat's in the shop. That ain't no good. Morgan says adds Vision 110 plus one to ice fishing shopping list. I just gotta. Yeah. It wasn't Cards Against Humanity. We played Settlers of Catan on New Year's Eve. Colton says, Pass the Bar was spectacular last night. I wasn't part of the first 2 hours. I was only part of the last hour. But well, you guys remember the New Year's or the last stream of 2025 where Punch and I were handing out Omnia tackle like it was going out of style and giving away prizes. Somebody did not reach out to me to claim their box. And so if that person's watching and they want to reach out to me, you are running out of time because I'm probably going to do a members only stream here pretty soon and give away that box on the members only. So members, got a pretty good chance here coming up. I'll try to schedule it so you can kind of plan for it. But I would say probably by this weekend, expect a members only stream to give away that last Omnia box that didn't get claimed. It wasn't you, Sam Axe, no. So, yeah, another chance. Carl, you already got a box. You can't be that greedy, can you? Yeah, there was no sponsorship by AJ. That was, like I said, there was no sponsors. It was all the stuff I used. And like I said, you can see all the baits in all the videos. So, yeah, the video that I draped last night, it was surprising how many of AJ's custom cranks, finesse jigs, and stupid tubes made it into my check cashing baits for the year. On Instagram, Luke wants to know tips. I did catch a few fish on a big hair jig in Waconia this year. For me, I throw the big hair, usually 5/8 or 3/4 ounce. I'm casting it out over structure, weed edges. I'm counting it down or letting it hit the bottom, and then I'm just slowly reeling it in like a giant K-Tech swim bait, just super slow like a swimmer. Every once in a while, I might pop it or shake it, and it actually shows up really good on scope if you have it. You can see fish kind of react to it. It'll definitely pull fish, but I just treat it like a giant slow roll and swim jig. That's my number one tip. Yeah. So you got your box, Caro? Got your stickers? No fish today. Well, maybe tomorrow. Maybe this weekend. I didn't catch any fish. I have not caught a fish all year. I haven't been fishing all year. I might have to go find some open water. But let's see what else is I haven't got any updated quotes on Bass Tech jigs, so I'm not sure. Looks like Austin. I was about to wrap things up, and then he came back. So we'll.
I don't know what's up. My battery pack that was charging my phone, I guess, wasn't giving it enough power to keep going.
So your battery died.
Yeah, so my battery died.
Cool. I think we're probably getting to a place. I think we'd answer most people's question. I was kind of wrapping thumbs up, but nice you can come back and at least let people know you weren't wiped out by that tornado that was coming or anything like that.
No tornadoes. No, it just literally it shut off, and it said it was charging when it shut off. I looked up there whenever it went black, and yeah, I got it plugged in over here now. But yeah,
what was you were about to answer something?
What was I talking about?
I forget what we were. We had just finished talking about coffee.
Yeah.
And we talked about fishing rods, but I feel like it was something else.
It was right after the fishing rods.
I don't know anybody else. Yeah, I don't remember. Anyways, are you traveling with anybody this year?
No. So, I mean, we have a we've got a 6-month-old, so we're just gonna do the Airbnb deal with my wife. She's gonna come to every tournament. My daughter's gonna come to every tournament, and then I hired my camera guy that did some of my videos last year. He's gonna be full time with us for the tournament series videos. I'll still be doing all of my like around the house stuff. That's all me. But he'll be staying with us and getting everything. It ought to be really cool. I mean, he works for the Outdoor Channel, so he knows what he's doing. And so I really enjoy those videos, and just something to look back on. And he does a really good job. So
you're gonna have very much like a Paul and Vandy Hammer situation going on here.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Yeah, that's pretty much what it is. He's Mason's. He's a fisherman. That's his name. And I mean, like whenever we went up to Leech Lake and we had a canceled day, like he just ran a GoPro, and whenever I'd catch a big one, he'd pick the camera up and he'd fish with me. And so he loves fishing and he likes doing. I actually got him. I'm trying to get him away from the Outdoor Channel so he can go full-time bass fishing. But I got him another gig. And then plus my gig, and then maybe one more gig will get him away. But he's really, really good.
Yeah, very cool. Yeah, well, I don't know if anybody's. I think we're good. Yeah, you can follow. Like Austin said, he's doubling down. He's posting on Instagram every day. He's been kicking out a YouTube video every couple of days. So if you're interested in, he's got obviously several kinds of videos, but I think the stuff I've checked out recently, he's doing some really good stuff with screen share and scope. So if that's like an interest, I think that's definitely worth checking out.
Yeah, that's what I've been doing this winter, just because I think that's what everybody else is doing right now. They're out there scoping, so they want to see. And then, but throughout the year, I'll do bed fishing videos, grass fishing videos, frog videos,
paddlefish videos.
Paddlefish videos. That's going to be the next video. I think it's going to be out on Friday. And then the tournament series videos throughout the year.
Yeah, right on. Sean says you guys met at the boathouse. I'm guessing is that at Leech, the boathouse? Maybe.
I don't know what the boathouse is.
All right, yeah. So if you're just fun fishing, what's your go-to?
If I'm fun fishing, I mean, I'm literally gonna go. Depends. I mean, if I'm around smallmouth, I'm going smallmouth fishing. But to be honest, like my fun fishing always turns into some way to get better. That's how I'm wired. But if I'm going to go out and just have fun, I'm probably going to go.
You can just you can crack on them any way you want. How do you want to crack on? If you're just going to blow off steam for 4 hours on your wind day, what's the magic wand?
Go into one of those lakes that I go to once or twice a year and throw in an Alabama rig and just murdering them when they eat it. I mean,
the old meat rake.
Yeah, Alabama rig. I absolutely love it. Second being probably a frog.
That was the correct. That's the answer we were looking for, Austin.
That's what you were looking for. You got to be different.
Yeah.
Though.
We only get one hook on our A rigs up here, so they're not that fun to throw up here. So
I mean, yeah. Well, then if I could only throw one hook on an A rig, it would probably be a frog or a swim jig, just something that I can absolutely just rip their face off.
There you go. Right on. Cool. Well, appreciate it, Austin. Excited to follow along on your journey, and thanks for coming on and sharing your time. And look forward to watching you at Gunnersville.
All right, well, I appreciate it.
Thanks everybody for tuning in tonight. As always, here to help you guys catch more big bass and suck less.
All right.